In the 1970s, a decade that was seeing the decline of the Western that had dominated Hollywood for so long, a young filmmaker was quietly working on the script for a new type of film that audiences had never seen before. While the 1960s had heralded the dawn of the space race between Russia and America, and Stanley Kubrick's monumental 2001: A Space Odyssey, it wasn't until 1977 that mass audiences had their first journey into the storytelling possibilities of outer space. The narrative of Star Wars' release has been told time and time again, and everyone has their own story. George Lucas introduced filmgoers to a galaxy far, far away, where stories of mythological proportions played out against a backdrop of alien planets and space-age technology, and redefined filmmaking for generations to come. Lucas began writing the script for Star Wars in 1973. His aim with this script was to give young people an honest, wholesome fantasy life, the kind my generation had. Lucas would write many early drafts for his space fantasy, searching for just the right ingredients, characters, and storyline. In 1975, after 2 years writing wildly varying scripts, Lucas picked up a book he had read in his college years. He simplified the screenplay into a more polished second draft in response to this reading, and established many of the elements recognizable in the final film today. That book was Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces. This book, published in 1949, used then-popular Freudian psychoanalysis to expound upon the concept of the monomyth, to refer to the central story shared across all myths and world cultures. Campbell refined this concept into what he called the hero's journey, which has since become standard vocabulary for storytellers and critics alike. Today, you would be hard-pressed to find a writer or creative not familiar with the concept of the hero's journey. Most narratives stop at this point in their explanation of Campbell's work and return to Lucas's film. Yet such a surface-level review of The Hero with a Thousand Faces does a huge injustice to the importance of Campbell's ideas, which extend deep below the surface of the human psyche to reveal a monumental truth buried within us all. It is this truth that allowed Star Wars to speak to so many audiences across the globe and across cultural divides. The hero's journey, in its most basic structure, is about a central figure who leaves their known world for the realm of extraordinary happenings, learns something about themselves, and returns with this knowledge to the benefit of their society. In Campbell's words, a hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are there encountered, and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. Campbell was a great believer in the symbolic power of circles. As such, this narrative arc was rendered in the form of a circle, with one half resting in the ordinary world and the other in the fantastic world. This three-act structure fits the standard format found in most Hollywood films, as well as most myths across all world cultures and religions, a fact that was not lost on George Lucas.
When I did Star Wars, I consciously set about to recreate myths and the classic mythological motifs.
This video will serve as a primer on the structure of the hero's journey. Seen through the film, it helped revolutionize. When Star Wars begins, after the standard hook promising viewers action and excitement and introducing the central conflict, we are introduced to the hero of the story.
Luke, tell your uncle if he gets a translator, be sure it speaks Bocce.
Doesn't look like we have much of a choice, but I'll remind him.
Luke Skywalker's ordinary world is bland and uninteresting, a bleak desert landscape where the primary method of earning a living is moisture farming. While the ordinary world in every hero's journey does not always have to be a desolate place in the physical sense, on the psychological plane of our character, it represents a world where the limits are firmly established and everything within those bounds is known. It is a place of stagnancy, where nothing can challenge the status quo or push our protagonist to self-discovery. It is in these early stages of the adventure that we first get a glimpse of something special dwelling within our protagonist. Some sense that a greater destiny lies beyond the confines of their small world. It is shortly after our introduction to the protagonist that they receive their call to
Got
action.
something jammed in here real good. Were you on a Star Cruiser?
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
What's this?
In Star Wars, this occurs when Luke stumbles upon Leia's secret message.
I stumbled across a recording while I was cleaning him. He says he belongs to someone called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He died about the same time as your father.
He knew my father?
I told you to forget it.
And again when we meet Obi-Wan.
Hello there. Come here, my little friend.
Who also satisfies the demand for the hero to come under the tutelage of a mentor, presenting magical gifts or talismans.
How did my father die?
A young Jedi named Darth Vader betrayed and murdered your father. Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force.
The Force?
Now, the Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. You must learn the ways of the Force if you're to come with me to Alderaan.
Perhaps the most important part of the hero's journey is the refusal of the call.
Alderaan? I'm not going to Alderaan. I've got to get home. It's late. I'm in for it as it is.
The hero's refusal affirms that they are like us, prone to the same doubts and fears, and tells us that we too can overcome them.
The achievement of the hero is one that he is ready for, and it's really a manifestation of his character. And it's amusing the way in which the landscape and the conditions of the environment match the readiness of the hero. The adventure that he's ready for is the one that he gets.
Whether willingly or unwillingly, from this moment on, the hero is thrust into the world of the adventure. They choose to walk into it or are pushed against their will into the unknown. For young heroes especially, this is the moment when they leave the confines of the parental shelter and enter a dangerous world without the protection they had in their fast-departing youth. This moment in Star Wars is known immediately to any who have seen the film, and is a traumatic example of how the young hero may leave their parental shelter and enter adulthood.
The first stage in the hero adventure, when he starts off on adventure, is leaving the realm of light, which he controls and knows about, and moving toward the threshold. And it's at the threshold that the monster of the abyss comes to meet him.
I want to come with you to Alderaan. There's nothing for me here now. I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
Mos Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
This critical stage in the journey is most often signified by the introduction of Threshold Guardians, which Campbell frequently referred to as the hideous ogres shared by many myths that represent a fringe, bounding the known world to the extraordinary world.
Where you are is on the edge. You're about to embark into the outlying spaces. This is the jumping off place.
What is often missed in most explanations of the hero's journey is that the crossing into the realm of adventure and unknown is not a literal crossing into some physical space, but a symbolic crossing into a mental realm. The hero from this point onward ventures not just into an outer world of unknowns, but also symbolically descends from their own conscious mind, the mind they're aware of and have mastery over, into the unconscious mind, the unknown within their own psyche. From this point on, the protagonist's trials begin to take on an almost personal character. The strange beings that appear before them are not representative just of some outside world, but are direct manifestations of the protagonist's inner struggles. It is often in this world of the subconscious that our hero encounters their shadow self, a reflection of the dark potentials within them. This archetype was not included by Campbell in his narrative arc, yet it is a critical component in the hero's adventure into the depths of their own mind. This character demonstrates the potential for negative change through choices made in this realm. They reflect who the hero might become if they choose egotism or greed over selflessness and humility.
Han Solo. I'm Captain of the Millennium Falcon.
This character can often reflect the nature of the trials which our hero is to go through, an externalization of their internal struggle, allowing reflection on their choices.
17,000. Those guys must really be desperate. This could really save my neck. Get back to the ship and get her ready.
All right, give it to me. I'll take it. Look at this. Ever since the XP-38 came out, they just aren't in demand.
It'll be enough.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
You don't believe in the Force, do you?
Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything. There's no mystical energy field controls my destiny. I call it luck.
The negative aspect of the shadow self can be seen to be the prime motivator that leads our heroes into the darkest stage of their journey. It is the shadow self's instinct to shoot first, to destroy the other in an effort to preserve the self, that leads the party into the maw of the Death Star.
It'd be as well to let it go. It's too far out of range.
Not for long.
Look at him, he's heading for that small moon.
I think I can get him before he gets there. He's almost in range.
The descent into the belly of the beast.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
This is a metaphorical hell, the deepest pit of despair in which our heroes can find themselves.
There's a very bad feeling about this.
Yet at some point in the journey, our hero comes to the realization that their shadow self is an essential part of them, and that rather than distancing themselves from their negative subconscious, a synthesis can be achieved, wherein the shadow self's weaknesses can be used to the advantage of the whole.
She's rich.
Rich.
It's no coincidence that Luke and Han wear identical stormtrooper outfits as they search for the princess, and after the decision is made to cooperate with the shadow self, both are seen with helmets on, visually interchangeable and in harmony. It is after this synthesis of the shadow self, of the conscious and subconscious personalities dwelling within our hero, that we come to the next stage of the journey. The encounter with a divine beauty. Campbell referred to this as woman as temptress, or encounter with a god or goddess.
I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you.
It is this encounter with the character symbolic of our deepest spiritual desires that presents the ultimate test for our hero. Will they descend into and embody their shadow self in light of this temptation, or hold to the lessons they have learned and maintain the moral high ground? If the journey is a tragedy, the protagonist becomes entombed in the metaphorical hell or belly of the beast, and there dwells for eternity. If not, they resist the temptation and achieve their highest potential. This is, of course, where Star Wars circumvents our expectations from conventional narratives by imbuing the goddess with impetus of her own.
Somebody has to save our skins. Into the garbage, flyboy!
Circumventing the symbolic role of the divine beauty and straying from the typical hero's journey, in which the god or goddess exists only as an object to aid the hero's self-discovery, and becomes a character in her own right. The shadow self, of course, resists.
Garbage chute is a really wonderful idea. What an incredible smell you've discovered.
In this sense, one may think of the two polar characters as representatives of the Catholic symbols of the angel and devil on the hero's shoulders, one representing their worst potential, and the other their best. Any dialogue had between these characters can thus be seen as an internal dialogue occurring within the heart or mind of the hero. Now fully engulfed in the belly of the beast, it is here that our protagonist and his representations face their ultimate test.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Don't just stand there, try and brace it with something.
Failure will trap them forever in their own personal hells, while victory amounts to not just a physical triumph, but a spiritual apotheosis that changes them forever and aligns them to a higher purpose.
That's a standard motif of going into the whale's belly and coming out again. The whale represents the personification, you might say, of all that is in the unconscious. Water is the unconscious. The creature in the water would be the dynamism of the unconscious, which is dangerous and powerful, and has to be controlled by consciousness.
Of course, if you've seen Star Wars, you know what comes next. The death or symbolic loss of the mentor is a crucial part of the journey. The moment when the hero knows that they have left behind not just their parental safety, but the safety of any external guidance, and realize they must face the rest of their trials alone.
Run, Luke, run!
Supernatural aid is a theme that runs through Campbell's interpretations of the monomyth. It can come in many different places along the journey, though it is often difficult to pinpoint just which events are supernatural in nature and which are simply luck. If Luke and Han's conversations are to be used as a guide, in the context of this narrative, there is little difference. Supernatural aid then comes not only in the form of Obi-Wan's disembodied voice,
Luke, the Force will be with you,
representing the internalized lessons Luke has learned from his mentor, but also every instance in which success may have fallen to ruin from a stray blaster shot or a skull cracked by a gaffy stick. These instances of luck, when all should have fallen to ruin, yet seem to be circumvented by some force beyond the control of any of our heroes, hints at the greater purpose lying at the center of the hero cycle. After the hero has escaped from the belly of the beast by symbolically dying to their old self and being reborn a new person, in harmony with their interior potentials, a return is begun. This is most often a literal return to the world they departed from at the start of the journey.
I don't believe it! Hey, how are you? How'd you get it?
But can also be a symbolic return to the society or mindset they once knew.
Hey, Biggs. I told you I'd make it someday.
It'll be like old times, Luke. They'll never stop us.
Yet the return is not instant or effortless.
Come on, buddy, we're not out of this yet.
Although our hero has slayed their inner demons and retrieved the ultimate boon, they are still chased by the shades of their struggle. A magical flight ensues, in which the subconscious forces of evil attempt to pull the hero back into their place of doubt. This is seen not just by the Death Star and its TIE fighters following the Millennium Falcon back to the Rebel base, but also by Vader's direct chase of Luke through the trench run. Once engaged in the final battle, it will take everything our hero has learned to achieve victory. A victory not just over the evil forces of the Empire, but of their own mind. The final apotheosis then is when Luke uses the lessons he has learned during his trials and becomes attuned to the Force flowing through him.
Use the Force, Luke. Let go, Luke.
The Force is strong in this one.
Luke, trust me.
His computer's off. Luke, you switched off your targeting computer. What's wrong?
Nothing. I'm all right.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
After the ultimate victory, the hero finally crosses the return threshold to dwell fully in the world they came from. Yet all is not as it once was. They have grown in their adventure, learned to master the opposites within their psyche, become, as Campbell called it, the master of two worlds. We see it symbolically in this shot of our party ascending a pyramid shape towards a beam of light situated at the top, showing the rising out of the animalistic ego and towards a state of divine enlightenment. It would seem our hero would be at one with themselves and with the galaxy. Yet as the Empire Strikes Back reveals to us, the journey of self-discovery extends deeper into the unmapped regions of their subconscious and brings them closer to ultimate evil, with greater temptations, greater loss, and the possibility of greater victory. Luke has yet to cross the return threshold, and is in fact still descending deeper into his own subconscious. The hero cycle repeats and resonates within itself, all revolving around a mysterious central axis, to be revealed in future videos. Hey everyone, I'm really excited to be doing these videos on Joseph Campbell's ideas. I finally got around to reading The Hero with a Thousand Faces, and was really blown away by the wealth of ideas contained within that text. Not just about story structure and mythology, but deep ideas about human spirituality too. I'm going to be diving deeper into those topics in upcoming videos, and I'm excited to take you along on that journey. Until then, Offscreen's Patreon page is now live, so be sure to click the link in the description and see if there's a rewards tier that's right for you. As always, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss another video. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next video.